Well, this is a meeting of the Pontifical Committee for International Eucharistic Congresses, and it follows on a meeting that we had in Rome in November when we presented the initial plans for the Eucharistic Congress, which is to take place next June 2012 in Dublin. And this gathering was an opportunity to provide an update to delegates from about 50 countries around the world, from all 5 continents, on the programme that we've prepared, and to show them the venues of the Congress, the Royal Dublin Society, RDS, and Croke Park. So the delegates came from places as diverse as Paraguay, the Dominican Republic, Taiwan, Vietnam, France, Spain, Belgium, many of the countries of Africa, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and of course Canada, where the last Eucharistic Congress took place. Well, we'd like the delegates to bring back with them the good news that there is a Congress in preparation which is intended to be a truly international Congress, a gathering of all the nations to celebrate communion with Christ and with one another. I think some of the delegates came with the idea that perhaps this was a gathering to which bishops and priests were invited, but we really want to invite the whole church, the lay faithful as well as religious priests and bishops from different countries, to come and join us in celebration in June 2012. Well, I think preparations are going quite well. We have a very energetic young staff in the Eucharistic Congress service, and then we have quite a number of voluntary committees who are all engaged in preparing different aspects of the Congress. Our pastoral preparation programme was launched just this time last year, and that has already been through 2 of its 4 stages and has been rolled out and put into action in most of the dioceses, I think all of the dioceses really around Ireland. The International Congress involves obviously the possibility of making that pastoral programme available more widely to those who would wish to join us in that journey of preparation as well. So we're using modern technology. We have our internet site available in 7 different languages at www.iec2012.ie, and people can have access to the pastoral and spiritual resources, because we see the Congress not as an event but rather a journey. The Congress event in 2012 will be the high point, but we are on a journey which leads way beyond the Congress to the future of faith in Ireland and in the wider world. I think the reaction was extremely positive. 1 or 2 of the delegates who came from the Vatican had seen the RDS in the past, perhaps 2 years ago, on a previous visit to Dublin, at a time when it was quite busy. And they were really amazed at the amount of work that has been done in the RDS there to upgrade some of the facilities, and I was actually fascinated to see some of the areas where we'll hold the workshops ourselves, which have really taken on a whole new face. And I'm very excited about the RDS as a venue. Already, of course, our Eucharistic Congress office has situated itself on the RDS campus, and that brings us into a new relationship with the people who work in the RDS, and there's a kind of an element of communion to that, because alongside the staff of the RDS, we're already involved in preparing to welcome those who come. Croke Park then was another interesting experience. It's something I suppose we take a little bit for granted in Ireland. Croke Park has been there longer than most of us can remember, but the new Croke Park is such a dynamic and awe-inspiring venue. A really worthy venue for a great international event such as the Eucharistic Congress. And we were hosted in Croke Park by the staff of Croke Park, but also by one of our own staff, Gerard Brennan, who happens to play senior football for Dublin and therefore was able to share his experience both as a regular player in Croke Park and as a staff member of the Eucharistic Congress. Yes, in March, the Archbishop of Dublin, Dermot Martin, wrote to about 18 people to invite them to be keynote speakers at the Congress. Each day will typically have 3 keynote speakers. One will give a catechesis, sort of a formal structured teaching on some aspect of the Eucharist. Another will give a testimony, which is a sharing of personal faith, and the third then will be the person who preaches the homily at the liturgy. So on the first day of the Congress, where the focus is primarily on our communion through baptism and therefore also the faith that we share in common with Christians of other traditions, the liturgy will be an ecumenical liturgy of the Word and Water, and it will be presided over by the Anglican Archbishop of Dublin, Michael Jackson, who just recently was appointed. The catechesis that day will be given by Brother Alois, who is the prior of Taizé Monastery. Among the other speakers who will come, Cardinal Rodriguez Maradiaga from Tegucigalpa, Archbishop Barry Hickey from Perth in Australia, Cardinal André Van Troyes from Paris, Cardinal Peter Turkson, President of the Pontifical Council for Justice and Peace, who will be the celebrant of a liturgy of reconciliation on the Thursday of the Congress week. We also have confirmed a number of other speakers, Bishop Antonio Tagle from the Philippines, and Cardinal Robert Sarah, who is the President of the Pontifical Council Cor Unum. There are about 6 or 7 other speakers who have yet to be confirmed, and we look forward to hearing their acceptance in the next few weeks. I think people, irrespective of whether they live in Ireland or overseas, can prepare either by choosing from among the pastoral resources prepared by the Congress team to facilitate deepening their own understanding of the Eucharist. I suppose it's important to say that the Eucharistic Congress is primarily about both deepening our understanding of the Eucharist and enriching our celebration of the Eucharist, as well as becoming more aware of the social challenge that flows from being the people of the Eucharist. So we would invite people, for instance, to access the theological reflection, which was prepared by the Theological Commission of the Congress. It's currently available on our website in English, French and Italian, and translations in Spanish and Portuguese will follow very shortly. But this is a short 30-page document which is a reflection particularly on the theme of the Eucharist as communion with Christ and with one another. And it's in the context, I suppose, of our own experience of church here in Ireland and the current experience of church in the world as we understand it today. We would also invite people at this stage, obviously, to consider registering for the Congress. The Congress registration opened towards the end of May, and it will be possible for people to register for the entire Congress for a little less than €100. That's for the whole week. It's also possible for people to register for participation for 3 days at a reduced rate. We're deliberately trying to make the Congress as accessible as possible to people with the consciousness that these are difficult economic times, and so the registration costs have been kept quite low. When people register on our website at www.iec2012.ie, they will also have the opportunity, if they wish, to seek an accommodation service provided by CSSL, which is our accommodation partner. CSSL have already block booked accommodation to get the best possible rates for our pilgrims. One of the things that we have launched in the last 12 weeks or so is our volunteer programme. This is not just about getting people to do work for nothing, although obviously it helps to keep the costs of the Congress down if we can get people to volunteer, but it's also about trying to involve people at a more serious level in the Congress, on the basis that if people are really made participants in the Congress, they can take ownership of it and have a sense of belonging. We would hope that the volunteer programme would lead people into service in the church in an ongoing way, as well as attracting those who are already actively involved. The volunteer programme is open to everybody resident in Ireland. The reason for that limitation is that we are committed to involving all our volunteers in a programme of pastoral preparation, so that it's not just about giving people a job and telling them to get on with it, but rather about drawing them into the pastoral and spiritual journey that is the Congress. For people who are further afield, as well as those who are home, and I would especially say to those who are housebound and who may not be able to become actively involved in the preparation for the Congress, we would say, please remember the Congress in your prayers. The communion into which we are called through the Eucharist is a communion which is empowered by the Holy Spirit, and we need all the gifts of the Holy Spirit, both to engage honestly in the journey of preparation and also to put on a good Congress which will be remembered in the future, not just by people in Ireland but by people all over the world.